All right, I don't want to be a jerk here, but Ruth Bader Ginsburg, is she buried yet? I don't know for sure. This thing has gone on and on. I found out a week ago tonight, actually on this show, that Ruth Bader Ginsburg had died. And yes, sad, significant life, one that needed to be honored. But 7 days lying in state at the Capitol, the Supreme Court, 7 days of pageantry. This is a violation of all kinds of norms for a city that's in love with norms. 7 days for an associate justice of the Supreme Court, who, by the way, was not the first woman, 87 years old. Look, I agree with the president. She was an amazing woman, led an amazing life. 7 days in the middle of COVID is too much. And why am I bringing this up? There's a political angle. Believe me, there always is. But to prove it to you that this was too much, I mean, let's look back at history. John F. Kennedy, President of the United States, assassinated. Horrible. Nation in shock. That happened on a Friday, November 22nd. Did you know he was buried Monday, November 25th? William Manchester wrote a great book, 4 Days. I remember reading it as a kid. It was documentation, everything that happened. 4 days seemed like a long time to me back then. So 7 days, yeah, that's a violation of civil convention. I've been talking to a lot of my Jewish friends and relatives who tell me that's a violation of all kinds of Jewish custom. But anyway, I watched a good chunk of it, and I saw so many truly grief-stricken anchors and reporters.
And Pete Williams, all of us cover a lot of history. We are privileged to be witness to history. This is personal. I know it's been an emotional time for you as well, having watched her all these years, watching her on the bench. Some of your reflections today.
We're going to get to the reporter who answers the question, but first, I mean, she looks devastated. How close can you get to a judge, a Supreme Court justice? Were they all friends down there? That's not how it works. How connected are you to a judge when you have jury duty, huh? I mean, you see them in action. She just asked, how did you feel about this person that you watched on the bench? All right, the guy you're about to see, Pete Williams, normally, under usual circumstances, he's a great reporter, but he's been getting emotional all week long about this, inexplicably, in my opinion. Here's his answer.
Well, my thought is that this is all happening so fast. I mean, it was just a week ago that we got the word that Justice Ginsburg had died after, very suddenly. And then tomorrow, an announcement from the president on who he'll choose to succeed her. It just all seems like it's happening so fast. We're moving so quickly here.
All right, so fast. Remember the John F. Kennedy thing we were just talking about? Lyndon Johnson was sworn in. A couple of hours later, the country got it together so fast. 7 days. The president is going to make the announcement tomorrow about his choice to succeed Ruth Bader Ginsburg. So fast? Not really. Oh, and I'll get to the political element, what's really driving this in a second. But back to Pete Williams, who for a long time was one of my favorite reporters. I know something about this guy. He's not the wimp he's pretending to be on television. He was a spokesman for the Pentagon during the Gulf War. There he is, next to Dick Cheney and General Powell. Part of the swamp, maybe, but I don't get it. I don't get the emotion over someone that they don't know. They don't have tight relationships, and if they do, quite frankly, they shouldn't. You shouldn't be that close to a Supreme Court justice. All right, so what's really going on here? Do you remember Ruth Bader Ginsburg, fervent dying wish, her deathbed wish? Remember that? Let's put it up on the screen. Yeah. My most fervent wish is that I will not be replaced until a new president is installed. See what's happening here. You space this thing out. You take as much time as possible. You get closer and closer to the election, and it becomes more and more difficult, potentially, to confirm a successor. That's what they're hoping for. I don't think it's going to work, but that's what's really happening. All right, but 7 days is a long time, and you can only talk about Ruth Bader Ginsburg so much. So what do? They bash Republicans, and they critique who came to the funeral and how they came to the funeral.
The lack of the major leaders on the Republican side of the aisle being there just Steve Scalise, essentially being the highest-ranking Republican there. It's just, I'll be honest with you, it was so jarring to me to see that it was essentially Pelosi and Schumer that were leading this, and you're like, where's the leadership of the entire United States of America?
That's exactly right. You know, Chuck, there are two things in America that tend to bring us together, ceremonies. One is inaugurations, and another is, sadly, national funerals, and even that is not true anymore.
Michael Beschloss, who passes himself as a historian. He's a TV historian, so he's kind of not a real historian, in my opinion, because he can't recall things that happened in 2016. In 2016, Barack Obama did not go to Justice Scalia's funeral. I remember it. I remember it very well. It made news at the time. And for a little while, it was a minor hot potato for the White House.
President will pay his respects to Justice Scalia and his service to the country by traveling to the Supreme Court tomorrow.
Well, why wouldn't he just go to the funeral to do that?
Well, as I also noted yesterday, Vice President Biden, who is somebody that had his own personal relationship with Justice Scalia and his family, will be representing the administration at the funeral.
Let Biden do it. He does have a lot of experience going to funerals, but the president, again, did not go to the funeral of Scalia. He just said, see ya. And again, no mention of that today. By the way, one of the reasons why I think they don't want a Supreme Court justice on the court, well, a 4-4 tie. If that happened, let's say the election gets really complicated, what would happen? Goes to the Supreme Court. What if it's a 4-4 tie? What I'm hearing is President Trump's term will end on January 20th. If they can't figure out who won the election, guess who becomes president? Nancy. Can you believe that? Can you believe that one? All right, so that's something else that might be affecting all of this. And that's one of the reasons why they want to vote by mail. This thing is dangerous. Just like the Attorney General told us, they are playing with fire. And I saw something actually just today that made me even more suspicious of what's happening. And before I tell you that, I should tell you I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not. I don't believe in UFOs. I mentioned the Kennedy assassination a little while ago. I actually think that Lee Harvey Oswald shot Kennedy and shot him by himself. I can prove that, actually. So, not a conspiracy theorist, but this got my attention today. A commercial from the post office, which I don't think I've ever seen a commercial from the post office. Why do they need a commercial? Why do they need to advertise? We know them. We know where they are. Anyway, they're doing it.
We live in uncertain times. However, there is one thing you can be certain of.
Morning, everybody.
The men and women of the United States Postal Service. We are here to deliver your cards, packages, and prescriptions. And also deliver the peace of mind knowing that what's important to you, like your ballot, is on its way.
The post office handling ballots does not give me peace of mind. This is strange. Something very weird is happening. I can't prove it at this point, but that's my sense, and I'm not alone here. And how about this? The postal workers endorsed Joe Biden. Does that give anybody pause too? All right? The people, nice-looking people in that commercial, but I don't know, political leanings, and they're going to be handling it. This stuff is complicated. And good election officials, and they're out there, have been acknowledging that for a long time. You can't just make mail-in voting work without a lot of time, like years of preparation.
Expanding vote at home is not a simple thing. It may sound simple, it may seem simple to the voter, but it is not so simple if you're administering the election, correct?
That is absolutely correct. It's a disservice to our voters to just throw it out. Oh, yeah, we can just flip a switch and everybody can vote by mail.
From your perspective, we're already behind.
We were behind 3 months ago when we started having this conversation.
And hats off to the one reporter over there at NBC I do like, Pete Williams sometimes. That's Cynthia McFadden, I believe. Again, vote by mail. This urgency to vote by mail, I don't get it. And neither does Dr. Fauci. Remember him?
There's no reason why we shouldn't be able to vote in person or otherwise.
Vote by mail. That's what they all want us to do. And I think they want that so they can steal it. I really do. All right. You know, another reason why the media is rooting for vote by mail, well, we all know that they're rooting against Donald Trump. They want him out. I thought a little bit more about that. Why do they want him out? He's so good for business. I mean, what's going on here? Here's what happened. Donald Trump embarrassed the media back in 2016. He humiliated them, actually. And he reminds them that they were wrong back then. And if they lose again, if this goes a different way, I mean, what good are they? But check this out.
You're awake, by the way. You're not having a terrible, terrible dream. Also, you're not dead and you haven't gone to hell. This is your life now. This is our election now. This is us. This is our country. It's real.
Everybody is crying and so upset.
Scared, depressed, despair.
America is crying tonight.
People I'm speaking to think it's absolutely catastrophic.
Boastful, bullying, coarse, crude. That's the way they're going to see America. So
ugly American.
Ugly American.
It feels like the end of the world.
Wow. And they know those videos exist, and they have millions of views, and people enjoy them. It delegitimizes them. They have been now reporting on President Trump in horrible ways for almost 4 complete years. And if he wins again, they don't want another night like that. So even if he does win, they want to make sure that victory comes much later, after a great battle. And they can say, well, he cheated. And then they can try to impeach him all over again. But don't underestimate that. They don't want to be embarrassed. I don't have this problem myself. You're in good hands with me, because back in 2015, when they were all laughing at Donald Trump, I said this the day he declared.
I think he might be a game changer in this race. Listen to that speech. It's going to go over well in certain precincts in Iowa, New Hampshire. This is a big deal. This is not a joke.
And the guy did it without a teleprompter.
Huh? As the president once told me, Greg, you got to toot your own horn. You got to do that. Don't be afraid to do that. Good advice, actually. Sometimes we're too modest in this country.